Welcome to War of the Weirds, a war between friends where the strength of the discovery of the greatest chance of victory. The time has come for this week's battle. The 349 incident versus accidental Forcefields.
Hello and welcome to War of the Weirds. I'm Broomy.
And I'm Mystic.
And we're here to tell one another and you all some strange stories from our strange reality. And, how are you doing, Mystic?
Good. I think I missed an opportunity there in the intro. When you say I'm Broomy, I should have said, and I'm engaged, because I got engaged since
Muzzle
the last recording.
top!
Thank you.
I think is an appropriate thing to say.
So that's
that's okay.
fine. Yeah. Is that, do you have to be married?
I don't know.
Is that the congratulations? Or is it just like, is it close? It's like, well, you're close enough to be married. I don't know if it's
Molotov
marriage specific,
cocktail.
congratulatory. There we go. There are gonna be some of those at the party,
Yeah.
at the wedding. So it's gonna be a
real
blast.
Flaming blast.
There's weird. We got our weird topics to talk about. There's lots of weird stuff going on in the world, and we have breached the subject. Broached. We have broke the barrier of political talk, and I think it's only fair to our listeners if we talk about presidency, because Putin said he's stepping down. Oh, I meant Russian presidency. I don't care about
Putin
US
say
stuff.
that?
No. Russia. Yeah, in an impromptu press release, his advisors and aides and stuff were like, we did not see this coming. Like, he did not talk to us about this.
I mean, yeah, I didn't see it coming because doesn't seem like the kind of guy.
Well, yeah. Well, he's coming up on 2 over the term limit. I think. I don't think he could be president, but 2 terms. And he's going on 20 years right now.
Yeah.
But he said that he's still. So what his plan is that they should the president shouldn't have as much power as he does, and so he wants to step down as president after this term, so it'd be 2024, and he's going to create a new office of chancellor, like a high chancellor, and give parliament power and give pretty much ultimate dictatorial power to the chancellor position, and then he's going to step into that position.
Cool. Why? Is there a lot of
I guess
unrest?
he wants
is unrest building?
Not for long. Not unless he says something. Not until he has something to say about it.
But you know what I'm saying. Is there a lot of unrest in regards to the presidency itself, and he thinks that this will
No.
No,
I think he's trying to put himself in a good light by look, I'm kind of breaching the Constitution here of our term limit stuff, so I want to do what's right, and instead we'll just kind of rewrite the branches of power, and I will take a position in which I can still have ultimate power, but be constitutionally accurate.
Great, Putin.
I don't know his brain.
No,
I don't know.
That's total political asshole stuff. Normal political.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Political asshole stuff where it's just hey,
yeah,
I'm going to pretend to do the right thing, but it's apparent to everyone that I'm not doing that, and I'm just going to do what benefits me, which is this.
Right.
And literally anybody who can critically think at all will see through what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, and then The only three I don't know much about the position of chancellor. I know Hitler was a chancellor.
Yeah.
I know Chancellor Palpatine.
Chancellor the Rapper, one of my favorite artists.
Right, yeah, he's good. He does a lot of collab stuff. And then I know, well, so that's the third. And then the fourth is Chancellor Sutler from V for Vendetta. Oh,
what is that? The main character?
No, he's the bad guy. Yeah, he's the. I mean, sorry, he's the political leader that the revolution is overthrowing.
Oh, okay.
So, not kind of chancellors have a bad rap.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I mean,
that's all I'm saying. If I knew nothing about Putin,
well,
about
hold
Russia,
on.
Nothing about anything.
One of those four chancellors has a good rap. It's Chancellor the Rapper.
Right.
You didn't consider that.
He's literally got good rap.
So.
Yeah. But if I were just, if I just knowing nothing about him, if I found out some other country that I've never heard of, with a political leader I've never heard of, is appointing himself chancellor, doesn't seem like it's going to have favorable outcomes.
I'm appointing myself an incredibly high office in the government. Oh, that's cool.
Like, that cannot go wrong at all. So that's weird news. That's weird, Though it's weird. It's not weird that it's happening. It's weird. Like, what's the motive? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. What's the point of this? So, that's the question that you asked.
Yeah, no,
so
it's just like a matter of
that's the strange part of this.
That's why I asked, like, is he losing enough favor by being the president that he thinks this will do something?
He had someone that supposedly ran against him this year, or this term.
Yeah. Didn't something happen to him?
Yeah, he had to go underground, and I don't know if he was found or not, but they're looking for him. So
yeah, that's cool. That's a real cool situation. So,
seems like, I don't want to get into U.S. politics, but I'm just thinking about, like, Putin setting a precedence for losing the presidency and establishing another position of power for world leaders.
I mean,
don't. So
I doubt that would go over very well here.
It would not happen. Yeah, it'd not be as easy to happen here because
we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, we're not killing opponents, challengers to positions of office.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to that.
Oh yeah, big win there.
Respecting human life at the very least,
the minimum level of that,
lowest standard. Yeah,
barely hitting that minimum level.
Yeah, barely hitting.
Like,
it. Yeah,
ooh.
Not. Yeah.
Thin margin. But enough politics. I hate.
I just have one more question. This is gonna. I have one more question about.
I'm fine
Putin.
with politics. What's up?
I hate politics, but I'm finding myself more and more involved in it, which I guess is why I also hate it, because it's just flooding my life. Yeah. I really don't know anything about Putin. I don't know anything about his policies. Maybe I should look that up.
No shirt, no shoes all day.
All right. Well, then you know what? Doesn't sound half bad.
Yeah.
So,
there's just a lot of
obviously,
pictures of him without a shirt on.
Yeah. Well, I know there's the meme about where they like made the song of him saying that he's gay, and he got real mad about it.
There's also that just reminds me that it's the Chinese president Xi. That he's very upset with people comparing him to Winnie the Pooh.
Oh no, I gotta look at this.
Oh yeah, it's huge, and it's banned. You will
when I typed in Chinese president, the first suggestion says Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, absolutely, because the internet heard about that and said, "Fuck you," for like censoring people. There was.
Does he Does he look like him or sound
Look
like him?
like
What's going
is
on?
Really,
Looks like
you
him?
see, if you go to the images, I'm sure there will be a side by side of him and Winnie the Pooh.
It's there. I think barely, but get it barely because it's Winnie the Pooh. But like,
please explain it.
I don't. Yeah, it's because Winnie the Pooh is a bear, and so like I'm changing barely is usually spelled Barley. Sorry, Barely, but this time I'm spelling it Bearly. So it's well, and funny enough, it's actually the same letters. They're just in a different order.
You're a comedy
So
genius.
I guess that's what they call an anagram.
You're a comedy genius.
So yeah, no. I'm looking at one where his face is split down the middle, and it's half him, half Pooh. And you're right, it's totally Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, but yeah, there was this game. I think I've told you about this a long time ago. This game called Devotion. It was a Taiwanese produced game, and one of the best horror stories told in a game that I've seen. I didn't play it. I watched a playthrough of it. But it's very well told, very beautiful. It's a family tragedy horror story.
Oh, no.
But it was banned and taken off Steam, and nobody can get it legally anymore because there is a meme on a newspaper within the game that you
real deeply buried
of Winnie the Pooh and President Z.
Wow.
So it was taken off the market. You can't get it legally.
Wow. I'm glad that it's okay to express opinions in the world without any repercussions.
I mean, there's repercussions. There's just not our government.
Yeah. No, I was being sarcastic. I
thought you were saying
no. There are still repercussions in the. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and a big confusion, a big misunderstanding of freedom of speech or censorship is like.
It's the government has to do it.
The government. Right. If it's something else, if it's some other website or like a person,
yeah, that
doesn't matter. They have the right to do that or say that or whatever. But if it's like, it only protects you from the government.
Yeah.
So that's the people don't like. If someone criticizes your opinion, they're not violating your rights. Also, do we even really like? We've agreed that we have rights and that people should have rights and they should be protected. But I don't think people even have the right to rights. I mean, I think it's a good thing that we do. I'm not disputing that. I think people have the right to a lot more than the government grants them. Mm-hmm. But like, I think that's just because we agree that like we should respect human life.
Yeah. I mean, it's just everything is most things are like that. Most things are ideas that we've
right.
Come up
like
with.
Nobody deserves anything. Like humans are pretty shitty across the board. But like it's good that we think they deserve it. I'm behind that. Like that's higher cognitive processing, saying that like, well, we should still protect people. Like that's a good thing. I'm not denying it.
Yeah. Sounds like you're denying it and you're calling for an end to all human life, but
let's move on. If that's what I heard, if that's what you heard, then you're probably right. So I just didn't want to come out and say it so articulately.
All right.
But the sheeple have got to end.
Which is sheeple to you is all people.
Is every person.
Every people there is.
Every people is sheeple. Yeah, just lots going on with QAnon, all stuff. It's just all right. Let's get a new story.
Okay.
Everything is coming out right now. Like everything is happening.
Yeah. Everything's coming to a peak, and the peak is
in the past 5 years. In the past 2 years, even the Pentagon has confirmed UFOs exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now they're called something different. They're not unidentified flying objects. They're like on something aerial. It's like UAP or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and but with everything going on in the world, we're like, yeah, no, we don't care. We got other stuff. We can't do that right now. Maybe that's strategic of them. It's the best time to release that because it'll just kind of get glossed over.
Yeah, well, it's just like when there's it's such a abstract and esoteric idea that it's just like, what are we doing with that? Like, we can be excited about it or whatever, but it's like it doesn't really affect our daily life very much.
Yeah. All right. Quick. Let me ask you one question then about this, and then I'll stop derailing this podcast. I listened to another podcast recently.
How dare you?
Yeah. Well, I want to rip them off. So.
Oh, cool.
No, I listened to Nate Bargatze's podcast, Nate Land podcast, and they talked about Bigfoot and aliens on one episode, and they kind of discussed like, what do you think would have the greatest impact on like the world, either like if aliens exist or Bigfoot exist, like if they're confirmed, either aliens are confirmed to exist or Bigfoot is confirmed to exist. And I think aliens have the potential for influencing, the world, but UFOs have already kind of been like, they're like, yeah, that exists. And like, we think life is probable, and like, we're looking for like water and stuff like that on planets. But I think, and so like, I'm not diminishing that repercussion, but I think what people don't think about Bigfoot is like, people are like, well, aliens, like clearly aliens would affect us more. But I think Bigfoot would have a bigger repercussions than we think, because like, what does it say about like rights? Like how cognitively advanced do they have to be? Or like, were people going to want to kill them, and then we got to protect them? And then like, were they the same as humans? We incorporated them into like, it's just I think that will have like more of a direct, like chaos. Like that would cause more division. Like I think humans could kind of like be united behind the concept of aliens or like an alien attack, but like Bigfoot will like divide everybody. But I've also heard that like the government might fake, this is deep conspiracy theory, that the government might fake an alien attack in order to like consolidate power, which I think that's more likely than aliens attacking.
Yeah, I mean,
is my government lying to me?
Yeah, that is way more likely. It's currently happening at any moment.
Right.
But
so I just that's my case for Bigfoot having a significant impact on humanity.
I think it's just hard to say because Bigfoot is pretty well defined, but aliens are such a like alien idea that like, who knows?
Like it could be like a bacteria, a cell, or it could be like a society.
Or even if it's a society, there's so many different types. There's so many different types of alien or creature it could be, or whatever. Who knows?
Do you think? I feel like maybe I've asked you this before or brought this up, but now I'm talking about it in the context of aliens. Do you think that like bipedalism or like, I mean, okay, most things on Earth can be broken down to look the same. Like insects and crabs are their own thing, but like most other things have like 4 limbs-ish, like 2 eyes, a mouth, 2 ears, like everything kind of like they might take different shapes. But like from like lizards to even like fish and stuff, they all sort of have the same basic structure.
A lot of them have a lot of the similar things, yes.
Right. So do you think that like we have evolved at a like this is the optimal design? Like not even human bodies, like but just like that structure? Like do you think if we because a big criticism with like Star Wars, or you're like, well, it's really convenient that all the aliens have like a humanoid shape. But like, what if that's the most conducive to evolution and progress?
I think it's might be the most optimal for like Earth.
Yeah.
Like
for
our
that's
gravity,
true. That's true.
For all of the different aspects.
Yeah.
But who knows when it comes
what the
to
other
other
environments and
stuff.
Yeah. All right. True. Good. All right. Cool.
So
your topic.
My topic. 2 hours into the episode, we're starting the topics. This one, I just kidding. I don't care. That's fine. When you Pepsi, what a great product. No,
Amen.
just kidding. It's okay. But
Right. We're cokeheads here.
yeah, we're a bunch of fuck cokeheads. Give us your Coke, or we're gonna stab you.
Yeah.
Pepsi, though, when did that happen? You had a story in which Pepsi obtained several battleships and shit from the Russian government. When did that happen around?
Yeah, that was like the 80s and 90s, because I think like because it was originally vodka, but then when vodka was no longer something that we were willing to partake in because we weren't going to distribute it, then we went to they gave the battleships and stuff. So I think that was like the 90s when that was supposed to be renewed.
Ah, all right. So around that time, February 1992, Pepsi in the Philippines, Pepsi Philippines, announced a new promotion where they're gonna print, familiar to all of us, the type of promotion this is. They're gonna print numbers on the inside of bottle caps.
Nice.
Of Pepsi, 7-Up, and Mirinda, which is a popular orange soda outside the U.S., apparently. Orange and other flavors. Like a Fanta. Like a Fanta.
Yeah, I was going to say, this doesn't sound fantastic, but,
Yeah.
I don't want to blow your mind with all the puns I'm making tonight.
No,
like the barely one from earlier, because when I took the word barely, I don't know if I explained that.
I still don't quite understand that, but I think we have to move on.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
But okay, so Pepsi Philippines, they did this from 001 to 999. Those are the numbers inside the bottle caps, right?
Yeah.
Some numbers could be redeemed for prizes that are like 100 pesos, which would be like $4.
Wow, that was the ratio then or now?
I think it's.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised. Like I see like $5.
It's then I think is what
things. Okay.
Yeah, and then the grand prize was 1 million pesos, which is
like $10.
40,000.
Oh wow.
Dollars.
Man, the exchange rate is messed
weird.
up. Yeah.
It's a weird exchange rate.
Right. You just do an episode on that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely super interesting story of just 100 to 4.
And...
What? Isn't that nuts? But to put that grand prize in perspective, $40,000 basically.
Wow.
If you were working full time, making minimum wage in the Philippines at the time, it would take you 23 years to earn that much money.
Oh, I'd be dead. I'd be dead in 23 years. I'm about it to the end now. I'm just hanging on.
Well, sorry to hear that. Congrats on the engagement.
Yeah, no, I'm glad.
Till death to you part. Not that much of a commitment.
Right.
But,
low stakes.
But yeah. So that's a big deal.
That's a big, you're done. You're done working. You're retiring.
Yeah. So Pepsi set aside $2 million, like US dollars.
Yeah.
Just to keep it like in our realm of like what we understand money wise.
Right.
For all the various prizes, including all the ones up to the grand prizes. Basically, they based it off of other successful promotions that have been done in Latin America. Every night, they announce the winning numbers on TV. Not Pepsi, but like the local news, that type of thing. And by May, 51,000 prizes were redeemed.
Wow.
Including 17 grand prizes. So what they were trying to do with this marketing, right, is they're trying to win over low-income Coke drinkers.
Okay.
So
let me question for you. Opinion question. What do you? Well, first of all, like, this is not like me asking questions into what you research. This is me just asking your opinion. So I'm not trying to like, well, did you think about this? Do you have this answer? That's not
okay.
No
Sure.
gotcha journalism here. I'm interested. Like, how long do you think these things last? Like, how long? Like, if they have like, all right. Here's what I'm thinking. If they announce like a contest and like the winning numbers and like their prizes, and they just like, all right, well, we're only gonna allow like a lot this much money. So when these have been like, you think it's already previous, like it's all the things in the winning numbers exist? Or are they still manufacturing them and putting them out to prolong the possibility? And then, when do you think the best time to try to win? Like, if they announce it that's happening, you think, well, there's already been like shipments in warehouses of this drink, and so I got to wait for like a couple of batches to come out, because like the everything in store for the next month is stuff that's already in stores and stocked. Like, what's the strategy there?
I mean, I think that would just that last part would entirely depend on, like, how frequented is the store? Are people buying sodas at that store? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if it's
but then those stores are getting stocked from warehouses. Yeah. So, like, how soon until, like, the winning things are actually just waiting in warehouses for a couple of weeks?
Also, they could, like, I don't know. You know,
because you don't want to announce it too late where they're already like in distribution and someone threw away the winning number.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Oh, sure. I mean,
just, right.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, I want to win this 40,000.
It might be a little late. This happened in 1992.
Well, I don't think it's for you to judge me. So.
Well, I think it's just, time, but.
Well, my mom said I can do anything, so.
Oh, then, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
you can,
all right.
You can do
That's
it.
what I thought. Eat your words.
Don't have to rub it in. It was called Pepsi Number Fever. That's the marketing.
Pepsi number what? What?
Number Fever.
Oh, all right. Well, they put all the money towards prizes and not their marketing team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
or I guess you can catch
success.
the fever. They want it to spread like a virus.
They wanted to spread their poison drink like a. I just say it's poison because all soda.
I mean, everybody that I've ever known that has drank soda has died or will die. So.
Yeah, that's a crazy statistic.
Yeah.
But speaking of statistics, they increased their market share in the region, meaning like the amount they are selling versus the amount their opponents are selling. They were at 4%, and they rose their market share to 25%.
Whoa!
So they were not doing well at all, and then they have a quarter of the market.
Market caught that fever.
Yeah. So they, of course, controlled the amount of grand prize winning bottle caps.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're not going to throw out... Yeah. It's 2 bottles that had that day's grand prize winning number in them.
Right.
They had a security code to confirm it. Or so they thought. So,
uh-oh.
The nightly Channel 2 News announced, this is May, I believe it's May 25th. Nightly Channel 2 News announced that the grand prize number that day was 349. And thousands of people went to Pepsi plants around the country to collect their grand prizes.
Oh, no.
Apparently, there had been a computer error, and instead of 2 bottle caps having 349 on them, 800,000 bottle caps
gosh,
had 349 on them. So only
Pepsi
two of
went
them had the
bankrupt.
very specific security code, but now people are at Pepsi plants asking for the prize they've won.
Yeah.
And Pepsi didn't budge. They're like, no code, no cash. They're just
Right.
no. And as you might imagine, that didn't quite go over well.
Cannot fathom why.
So Pepsi executives have an emergency meeting that night. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say they just baited people into buying Pepsi, and they're like, yeah, just kidding.
Yeah.
That's almost worse than no prize. I think it is worse than no prize. It is. It's worse
100%.
if you think you win, and they're like, no. That's worse than...
You know what that reminds me of is I'm not a fan of pranks generally.
Yeah.
And there is a prank that people do where they get a fake lottery ticket and give it to somebody, and they scratch off the number. Oh, I got the grand prize. I'm a millionaire.
Right.
And they're so excited. It's like, haha, it's not real, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
That's the prank.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I thought my life was going to be better, but it's not.
Right.
And I'm a piece of shit for being excited. It's like, I guess fuck me.
Right.
And I think that's how people are feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
In this situation, Pepsi executives, they have an emergency meeting at 3 a.m. that night.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided, hey, let's offer 500 pesos to people who got the non-grand prize 349 bottle caps as a gesture of goodwill. Now, 500 pesos being 18 bucks.
Ooh.
As
a
opposed
little
to
bit less than 40,000.
40,000.
Yeah. Close.
Which is what
you can round
they
up, I guess.
expected to get. Yeah. So some people took them up on that. And by some, I mean quite a few. 486,000. Which ran Pepsi almost $9 million.
Oh.
But, or 240 million pesos.
Paying the discounted rate.
And that's from them paying off the people that were that got the wrong bottle caps.
Right.
And if you remember, I just thought of this. What did they set aside?
$2 million.
$2 million.
So also a little bit less.
Yeah. So, but of course, plenty of people were like, $18? I should be getting 40,000.
Yeah.
Fuck you, $18. And the more passionate of the people saying that, of the thousands of people saying that, formed different organized groups, such as the 349 Alliance, which organized a boycott of Pepsi products, held rallies and protests outside of offices of Pepsi Philippines and the Philippine government.
Oof.
Also, there were riots.
I believe it. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, sure.
If you get a bunch of people that thought they were going to get $40,000,
they thought they were going to get a life-changing amount of money.
right? And they're like, I'm still stuck in these circumstances.
Yeah. It's like the economy wasn't that great in the Philippines.
Yeah.
As I said, for minimum wage workers, they had to work 23 years to get to $40,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't awesome. So this would have been a incredibly life-changing amount of money. So,
I gotta think those riots and boycotting hurt their sales even more.
But it got pretty extreme. Homemade bombs thrown at bottling factories.
All right, yeah, that's not good.
Pepsi trucks were vandalized, overturned, firebombed very regularly. That was very regular occurrence.
See, that's like those are people working, doing their job. And like, I mean, like the offices and stuff, like the headquarters is where you gotta express your outrage, not the people just delivering their bottles and stuff.
Yeah,
they don't have a say in the matter. I mean, I guess like, you know, in the like the thought process is like, well, all these are wasted bottles, and so that will end up hurting Pepsi's, you know, sales.
Yes,
Like,
but also
you're
plenty of these people could have not been like part of any organized group, but just people, you know.
right. Yeah.
That are just angry
Yeah.
and want to fucking fuck shit up.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. Because like the effect bombing a truck is going to have on the Pepsi sales are not going to be as great as the bombing like that the driver's family.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So people are in the streets with signs, shouting through bullhorns. Pepsi offices were targeted by Molotov cocktails and other explosives. Pepsi executives were getting death threats very, very regularly. The saddest aspect of this story is a homemade grenade was thrown at a Pepsi truck. It bounced off the truck and landed near a school teacher, which killed her and a 5-year-old child.
Oh, no.
Along with wounding 6 other children.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And
also,
I bring
do people not know how grenades work? I mean, it's not explode on impact. Anyways, that's not the point. That's sad.
I mean, they could have just missed.
Okay, true.
They could have thought they were throwing. I mean, not that that's an excuse.
Right.
Don't throw a grenade.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, so yeah, that's the saddest aspect of this. Pepsi executives feared for their lives. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
They hired bodyguards and they put armed passengers in delivery trucks. So, like, if somebody's, like, picking up their grenades or Molotov cocktails at the delivery truck, armed passenger will be like, hey, I got a gun.
So,
it's great.
Yeah.
It's
So
great
instead
situation.
of blowing up civilians, we just shoot into a crowd of them. Okay.
They got employees whose native country was not the Philippines out of there. Because I imagine it's like, well, first it's a volatile situation, so if you could do that, whatever. But second, it's like a thing where if they're not Filipino, sorry, my brain exploded there. But if they're not Filipino, then maybe they'll be more likely to be targeted.
Yeah, it's harder to empathize with them.
Yeah. So, but the issue with that was there were a lot less people at Pepsi in the region to deal with the shitty situation they were in.
So this is just progressively getting horrible. Like even like, I mean, the situation is bad, but like even like from like their sales, like they're trying to like prevent bad things from happening and still sinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, to be frank, they didn't do everything right.
Oh, no, I'm not saying no,
wrong in terms of like response to the initial situation.
Yes.
So Coalition 349 was one of the organizations against Pepsi. They called for boycotts. One of their members, Paciencia Salem, was a 64-year-old protester whose husband died of heart failure while marching in opposition to Pepsi.
Okay. Real dedicated. Got a lot of ties to the cause now.
She said, "Even if I die here, my ghost will come to fight Pepsi. It is their mistake, not our mistake, and now they won't pay. That's why we are fighting."
Yeah.
So there's a lot of passion.
Yeah.
And you understand it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I also understand that it's somebody made a mistake in Pepsi's, plant. Like, that was an error. That was just a human made a mistake. Somebody doing their job. But, like, it wasn't like the CEO was like, let's trick all these stupid people. Like, they, it was...
Yeah, it's
but
just
like,
they didn't...
But, yeah, I mean...
They didn't really even admit that much fault.
Right.
They're like, hey, we'll give you $18 as a gesture of goodwill.
Right,
like,
right.
We really don't have to do
Right.
that, but we'll do it.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing. After their offer of $18, they didn't budge much. They referred to like the riots / protests and demands as extortion.
Mm-hmm.
There were thousands of legal complaints against Pepsi. And they weren't doing as well sales-wise, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
They went from 25% down to 17%.
Oh.
So, and this conflict, like, people in the streets, lasted a long time, like, into the next year. And this was the beginning of 1992. This was May. In December of 93, a police officer filed a report that the bombing and riots, that aspect, weren't the protesters, but actually agent provocateurs from Pepsi itself. So people, he's saying, people hired by Pepsi to throw bombs at trucks and shit. He was the chief of the organized crime division at the National Bureau of Investigation in the Philippines. His evidence was that a man confessed that he was a Pepsi security guard, and that man knew of 3 mercenaries who were hired by the company to damage their property. And they did this in order to label the anti-Pepsi crowd as, like, violent terrorists, that type of thing. And doing that might benefit Pepsi when it comes to their court cases that they would face. Because, like, if the people believe that these people that would do this, these horrible violent acts or whatever, then maybe they'll be more lenient towards Pepsi. So that police officer's superiors just dismissed that accusation, saying his reports were discredited. A Pepsi lawyer refuted it. It was, that idea was just kind of thrown away. One senator suggested, what if other rival bottling companies were taking advantage of the moment and acting out against Pepsi via riots and makeshift bombs?
All right.
In hopes to hurt Pepsi in general.
Corporate espionage.
Yeah. Rival sodas. Soda fight.
Yeah. They're so divided. Soda, like you spelled SODA, soda, like so divided, not DIVIDED.
My God.
Maybe
you're the next George Carlin.
Yeah.
So over time, the rage against the Pepsi machine in the Philippines died down. The majority of the cases against them were thrown out of court. Pepsi was going to be sticking around the Philippines.
Yeah.
And people moved on. In 2006, Philippines Supreme Court made a final decision on the remaining court cases against them and found that Pepsi wasn't obligated to pay out the sweepstakes money because of the computer error.
Right. And that's fair.
It checks out. But yeah, Pepsi fucked up. That's the moral of the story.
A giant. See, okay, all right. Two things. One is like, the people thought they were going to get $40,000 and then didn't. And like they some of them I'm sure are bitter to this day. And will be bitter till their death. Like with that large number of percentage of people dead. But like something I read recently about, it was just like, they feel like they didn't get what they were owed, but they were owed that. They didn't, I saw a breakdown. This is an example, no agenda behind this, just the example that comes to mind was like talking about how like if Amazon paid everyone a livable wage, it would cost them $3 billion or whatever. But like it wouldn't cost them that. It just means they wouldn't earn that. Like they're not already entitled to that money. They don't have that money yet. It just means they would earn less than, like, they don't. It's not that it's like they're having to pay that. So
yeah, they're not going into debt in order to do that.
Yeah, they're still gonna. I mean, anyway. So it's just everybody. I think this is one of those like nobody's really like, everybody sucks here, but the situation sucks.
Well, I don't think the people who organized and sued Pepsi.
No, I don't think they suck. Like I get it. I get that.
Or protesters in general, those people, they don't suck.
The bomb, like everything, the tanking, the situation sucked. That it happened, but then also like, I mean, what could they do? Like, there's no way they could have actually paid everybody.
Yeah.
Like what? I mean,
I think $18 was
Oh, me
low.
too.
I think that was like really insultingly low, and I don't know. It would anger me if I was in that situation.
Absolutely.
If they offered like $150 or something, maybe I would feel like it was like reaching out. But
it's
$18, I think they like calculated what's the lowest amount that we can give people, and maybe they'll take it. And they
did a focus group, like what amount of money? Yeah, but like also, I mean, it's hard too because like each individual in that moment is like, no, like you're like, well, we can't pay all of you, and you're like, all right, well, not everybody but me, but like you can't have that mind. Everybody has that mindset.
I mean, no.
So. Like what there's they're not wrong for wanting what they thought they were gonna get. Like
it's a horrible situation. I just want to say fuck Pepsi in general.
From going, how the mighty had fallen from having a sixth largest navy in the world to being messing up this bad and ruining people's lives and causing riots and society to crumble. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you get involved when you get heavily armed as a corporation. Yeah. But
and literally people died because of this.
Yeah.
It's, it's very intense. And
if they had owned up to it, I think that might have made a little bit of a difference. I mean, well, I know like legally, like you shouldn't admit fault, or like that's always the legal advice, But like at the same time, if you're trying to come to understanding, and get the people that you're going to disappoint to at least not hate you violently, be like, all right, we can only this is the situation. Like, there's no way we can pay everybody, but instead of not paying everybody nothing, we're going to pay you a little something. And try to seem like a compromise instead of just like, we didn't mess up, but we'll do this, I guess, grudgingly.
Yeah, because we're
right. Yeah, they're patting themselves on the back for that.
Yeah,
that's why I drink Coke.
Yeah. They're not,
They're not
a shitty corporation at all.
There's no corruption in Coke, except, well, maybe they helped bomb Pepsi, so no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good story. That was really good. That was really good. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be right back with Mystic's story right after this.
This week's episode of War of the Weirds is brought to you by Broomy and Mystic. Why would it be brought to you by anyone else? Anyway, back to the show.
And we're back. That's what I was going to say.
We wanted a real soft landing. We wanted to really just not smooth transition from the break into this next section.
Yes. Fuck Pepsi. And what is your story?
You know, your story told about a corporation, company kind of doing something not cool. And my story is going to be about a company doing something that is pretty cool. But I need to, I gotta address something here. I came across like 6 topics in the past few weeks that I've like added to my list of potential things to cover here. And one of them involved a man living with corpses. And you know that's a hard topic for me to resist. And I just,
yeah.
I love that.
It's your biggest fantasy.
And, defecation are 2 things I talk about a lot. But we'll get to that one on another podcast, another episode. It's a little teaser. But I discovered, so I decided on a topic, and I was researching this topic, and then I discovered something even more bizarre that I needed to share. So typically, our collateral damage episodes are like, I was researching this topic. While I was doing it, I came across this other little story. So we'll share that in the collateral damage episode. But this was the opposite. This was like, I'm researching something already cool and then found something that I think is cooler. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's different. So what this week, this topic is coming to me at a cost. Because it's technically 2 stories, then I'm going to concede victory, because this will disqualify me. I'm disqualifying myself from this week's battle by sharing both topics.
I mean, I will happily take the victory, even though I don't even know if I agree with that as a rule.
It's
I'm
just
fine
my
with
moral
it
compass.
because
That's all. Because these are both
okay
topics that are cool. That I don't know, but I don't know. They're somewhere between a collateral damage episode and a regular episode. So this is what I've decided to do. It's
they're
a combo
package,
but they're not actually related. So I can't. I'm just gonna shoot myself in the foot for this one.
Okay.
All right. The topic I originally began researching was a little occasion, a little happening. It happened in South Carolina in 1980. There was an adhesive tape manufacturing plant called 3M Corporation. And at this plant, they have machines that make, well, not that, no, oh, all right. This is also, I should say, this topic is going to be a little dense. And then the little next bonus story, second half of this topic, is real heavy science stuff. Almost sci-fi.
Okay.
So some sci-fi rigmarole, So bear with me. This plant, it takes a giant spool of polypropylene. So think like saran wrap, sort of, but it's thicker and more, whatever. Anyway, so this film, this clear plastic like tape film thing. The rolls of this are 50,000 feet long. Like, I mean, rolled up, not like that. That's like the roll is that big. Like, that's how many feet of the film are wound up onto onto this spool. Right.
They don't. They didn't roll it up. It's just a 50,000 foot warehouse that they have a bunch of these lined up.
The rolls are actually 20 feet wide, or the spools. So it's these giant spools, 20 feet wide. I'm showing this with my hands, and you can't see that, but whatever. And so how they have this set up, what this does, they have machines. The point of the machine is to like take the big wide 20-foot wide piece of plastic and like cut it, make slits in it, and then like wrap it onto smaller spools that can be like sent out. So how this is set up is they have the big spool on one side. Think of it like on the left side, and it's just spinning, and it goes up 20 feet to another roller and that rolls at that's diagonal 20 feet straight up, and that roller, the second roller, sends it 20 feet horizontally. So you kind of got like a backward 7 shape right now to another roll, and that roll sends it 20 feet straight down, where it is cut and rolled onto smaller spools. So it looks like a door jamb. It's like the shape of a door jamb.
Okay, and remind me, this is to make
adhesive polypropylene. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What is that used in?
Polypropylene is a thermoplastic polymer. But it's, let's see, what is the most common use? Packaging.
Okay.
Big things, like a lot of things in the automotive industry, like special devices, like big,
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's.
We got this spoolie.
Right. They're considered a commodity plastic also, but anyways, yeah. So think of like this door jamb with like these rollers connecting, and so when the machine starts turning, and it's 20 feet tall and 20 feet wide, this door jamb, and it's 20 feet like wide as well because the spool is 20 feet wide. So it's just like all these spinning rollers. Is that, you think our listeners have it good? I don't want to be condescending. Like, you think these idiots can picture that? But like, I do want to make sure it's clear.
No, I mean, you're explaining sort of something that people don't witness all the time. Right. It's a very visual thing. Yeah. But yeah, I think so. It's basically, if you know what a spool is, it's just a wrapped up like cylinder type of thing of this plastic type saran wrap looking stuff, and there's a few of them that are shaped
because they want to have them rolling,
spinning, and going into each other.
Like, if this episode comes out before January 1st, then you can go on Netflix and watch the episode of The Office where Dwight owns the building, and he has Mark Proksch's character Nate cutting the toilet paper into like 2-ply, or from into half-ply, and like he's got that whole, like, it's like connected on these pulleys and stuff. But post January release, The Office is not on Netflix, so
I find it funny that you know that.
Yeah, because corporations suck. So anyways, these spools are spinning at 1,000 feet per minute, which sounds like a lot, but that's 10 miles an hour, which does not sound like a lot, but it's 16.67 feet per second. So it is very fast.
I mean, yeah, it does sound... If you're spinning at 10 miles per hour, if you get hit by a car at 10 miles per hour, it's still not good.
But it's like, yeah, we think of it like the car moving 10 miles an hour, but like that's how fast this plastic is shooting across, across the room in this shape. So,
yeah.
But it forms like I said, it's a door jamb, but it's 20 feet long, so it's like a corridor, like a hallway, because the spool itself is 20 feet wide. So, they were one morning in South Carolina, 1980. They were running this machine, and it started to generate electrostatic. So a guy named David Swenson, who worked at the plant, had a kilovolt. It's a handheld electrometer, which measures the electrical charge in the air. Like, some things like read circuits, like you have to tap it into a wire, but this like detects it in the air. And his device goes up to 200 kilovolts per feet, or 2,000 kilovolts per feet. Sorry. So it maxed out, which doesn't sound like that's hard to to imagine what that number means. That number means, if you do the math, like batteries, like your flashlight is runs on like a couple volts. The electricity powering like a flashlight or lantern. This was 2 million volts of electricity in the air. Is what was generated.
Yeah.
From static of this plastic. Well,
and this was not a regular occurrence.
Not exactly. So you can think of this as that. Here's a quote. The polypropylene film had been manufactured with dissimilar surface structure on opposing faces. So think of one-sided tape. It's sticky on one side, it's not on the other. Contact electrification can occur even in similar materials if the surface textures or microstructures are significantly different. And these are very dissimilar because like one is adhesive and one is not. So the surface structure is different, so the contact electrification potential is increased. The generation of a large imbalance of electrical surface charge during unspooling was therefore not unexpected and is a common problem to the industry. Quote-unquote static cling is what they experienced, but in the megavolt range. So if static cling is probably I don't know, like fraction of a volt, and this is 2 million volts of static cling. So he tried to walk through the corridor and hit an invisible wall. The electricity in the air generated a field that was impenetrable to him, aka a force field. He saw a fly get sucked into the plastic from the static cling, like a balloon you scratch on your head and stick it to the wall and it sticks. So it that pulled a fly into it. And he said the pull that he felt on him was probably strong enough to pull a bird in, that's a lot. Another person, so he was unable to pass through this invisible barrier. Another person nearby felt himself being pulled in and tried to turn around and was unable to physically turn his body and had to just back away. There's not a lot of details on that, and so I don't mean that was typically a quote and the different things. So I don't know what exactly that meant, that he couldn't turn around but had to back away. I don't know if he was pulling things away. I don't know.
My question is, he bumped into a wall.
Oh yeah,
that was like a force field.
That's the focus of this, is the force field.
So when that happened, was it like an electric wall? In that he's feeling of it?
It was like he hit a wall. He didn't get shocked. he said he could lean into it, but he could not like press any further. So it was like a slow like it wasn't like a hard shell, but it was like, I guess like sort of like a mattress wall, I guess is what it would be. It would feel like. You can feel a little, like you can push a little bit. It's got a little give, but still
it's got some
there.
Give,
yeah,
but
still
it
there.
is still a wall.
And like he was trying to walk his whole body through. Maybe he could have like poked a hand through because it was less surface area. Who knows? I don't know. But he couldn't pass through it. He went to inform the production manager, who did not believe that they had accidentally created a force field. And so he went to see for himself, but the phenomenon was over. And so their researchers and their engineering team and stuff suspected it was due to the unusually low humidity that morning, which had increased by the time the production manager arrived on the scene. So they said, well, tomorrow is supposed to be low humidity too, tomorrow morning. So let's come in and start early and see if we can get it to happen again. And it was successful. It was like raising the hair on everyone in the room, created another force field that they couldn't walk through out of electrostatic charge. And they're just like...
These are, to be clear,
they're working the factory line.
These are like workers at this factory. And they're like,
let's create another force field.
Let's create another force field.
Yeah.
That Superman will be no match for this.
And what I hate about this is that that's where the story ends. For that force field. They just like, we did it. And then like they're like, well, you generated a static electricity, which is not uncommon, and the atmospheric conditions were correct for you to like feel a tangible, and they didn't do anything else with that information. They're just like, and that was 20 years. Oh gosh, 40 years ago. That was 40 years ago, and we've never experimented with force field technology. Still, 1980.
What year was it?
Yeah, we're old now.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my first story. That's the first part. So, that's pretty crazy. And so I started typing these keywords into Google, like, accidental force field, blah, 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 trying to find more articles about it. And I found out that the Earth we have accidentally created a force field around the Earth. We as humans. So the Earth has a natural force field around it called the magnetosphere. Right? You got like the atmosphere, and then the other ones that I don't know the name of, and then this one. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and then Magneto created
I think that was after he fought with
yeah.
Professor X. I don't know the timeline because there's so many timelines in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the first one from like 2002 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
I love that. I do.
Universe.
I talk. Well, no, I mean, but about the X-Men
movie?
universe. I think I like it much better than Marvel. I mean, I know it is Marvel, but like we don't think of the MCU as X-Men. So, but anyways, yeah. Fun characters.
It's fun characters and powers.
So, usually, the magnetospheres, the one that exists around the Earth, is generated at Earth's core because magnetic fields are produced and blah 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 and gravity and all the stuff. So they're like natural magnetic fields, and like you think about compasses don't work at certain when they're influenced by magnetic fields and stuff like that. So like that just exists already, just like air or trees exist. And this protects the Earth from radiation from the sun, and that's how we're all not dead. So that's already like a naturally occurring force field, but research in 2017 by NASA revealed that humans using this, I think this is very stupid. This is a proper noun. Very low frequency radio waves, VLF. Like they don't have. They're just like very low frequency. We'll just call them that. That's the radio waves that we use to talk to submarines. So you have these big special satellites that have. They're not very common because very low frequency radio waves they have a high penetration power. Yeah. And so they can communicate with submarines because they can like go into the depths of the ocean and pressure and all that stuff. So
yeah.
But the way satellites work is they just like send out waves and some go down into the ocean, but a lot of them float off into space or are sent off into space. And these VLF waves have actually created a force field around the Earth that protects us from more radiation. And the way they discovered this is there's a something called the Van Allen belt, which is three radiation belts that exist around the Earth. And like from my understanding, my very limited understanding of like Google Scholar trying to understand astrophysics is that due to Earth's pre-existing magnetic field, like the radiation pulls a little bit of radiation to us or towards that zone, but it prevents it from getting any closer. So like I don't know, I'm thinking magnets are weird, you know, but magnets, like It's Always Sunny.
How do they work?
When Charlie's like, "What's your hobby?" Magnets. Like what? Just like making magnets? Playing? No, just magnets. Magnets. So it like.
Yeah.
It sort of, I guess the best way to explain it is like it sort of absorbs them passingly. So like as the sun produces radiation and other things in the universe that like comets and stuff like that, anything that was things like solar flares and all the stuff like over millions of years that produce radiation. And Earth, like as it's orbiting, kind of like goes through it and picks it up, but it also keeps it at bay. It keeps it away from the Earth itself, but just kind of like, you know, gets stuck as that moves. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so you're
we're
constantly
flying
picking up
through
stuff.
space at all times.
Yeah.
So we're going to be
but
hitting
it holds it at
different
arm's
things.
length, so it's not harmful. So researchers found that like measuring this rate, the frequency wave diameter, I don't know, where it's like it's being sent out, the buffer zone, it stops at the Van Allen belt, and it's actually seems to be pushing the radiation belt away from Earth further. So where the radiation is getting like stuck in the magnetic belt around Earth, this barrier is actually pushing it further out. So it's protecting us from radiation. It means that it's also stronger than Earth's magnetic field, which is concerning maybe. But overall, it's a good thing. I mean,
why
if
is it
it's
concerning?
like because we didn't mean to produce them. Like we didn't mean to make this. We discovered that we're having an effect on the universe.
Yeah.
And it's stronger than the naturally occurring magnetic field on Earth. So our technology, by accident, has produced something completely unintentionally strong enough to disrupt Earth's geomagnetic field. For the better in this case, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
but like, what else is
for the better in this case? That's the key here. It's like it could be horrible.
Yes.
Could
in this case, it's working
everything, out. But
so,
in this case,
like I said, typically the geomagnetic field protects Earth from harmful radiation from the sun because the sun is producing massive amounts of radiation. But this VLF barrier is also capable of stopping radiation from solar wind, and pushing, not only keeping radiation at bay, like a supplement to the magnetic field, but seems to be pushing it further. Protects us from solar storms, and one of the most important things, it protects us from coronal mass ejections. So those are explosions on the sun which produce like plasma and like actually physical fragments. And those fragments have their own magnetic field. And, you know, if that were to come in contact with Earth's magnetic field, there could be some problems. But this barrier actually protects Earth from that happening. Those magnetic waves those magnetic waves can destroy satellites, power grids, and affect the weather in space. Which space weather is basically just solar storms and massive waves of radiation. So we're protected from that. We're protected, there's a natural like decay of satellites and space stations and stuff that exist due to the radiation that's being emitted by the sun. But if this barrier, like we figure out a way to send this barrier out, it could like further protect space like exploration. And scientists now are like the current topic is they're seeing if this can actually remove excess radiation that exists around Earth so that they can just remove radiation that exists in places they want to go and do stuff. So this would have like massive ramifications. Like if we were able to implement this technology on another planet and like make it would be a step towards making it livable or habitable. And it's just by accident, just people talking on giant walkie-talkies, and they're like, oh, these radio waves actually protect the Earth from being destroyed, and might actually make it possible for like extraterrestrial habitation someday.
One thing I was just going to mention was the very low frequency is a common conspiracy theory thing where I think I mentioned it when it came to the, what was it, gang stalking, where people thought they were like there were agents that were shooting very low frequency waves to fuck with their brains basically. So it's like a very common idea that these are low frequency like waves, radio waves, are powerful forces, and that's sort of the same place where the tinfoil hat comes from, where if you have a ton of tinfoil, it has to be very thick and a large amount. That can block low frequency radio waves. Not that anybody who's ever worn a tinfoil hat in that manner would actually need it for any reason. But that's where that comes from.
I like hearing you say that made me look up something. And just so that's the end of my story. But just to kind of digress a little bit here. So infrasound, is a thing that people talk a lot about, especially in conspiracy stuff and government cover up and secret facilities. But infrasound is also a low frequency sound that's undetectable to the human ear. And there is, I don't know if this has been scientifically proven or not. Like, it very well could be, but I know there's a lot of conspiracies about infrasound because it can induce nausea, feelings of dread, anxiety, and stuff like that. And so there are places. I heard about this on like a not a conspiracy theory YouTube channel, but like a mysterious, like unexplained Phenomenon's channel, which is like sometimes does extreme topics and like, but sometimes does like real murder cases. And so I don't, but they have like found infrasound in like some caves and stuff like that, and people think like, oh well, this is the government is putting this here because this cave is an entrance to a secret facility, and they want to put the infrasound emitter, to keep make people have a fear of dread or have a sense of dread and fear when they get close to it, so they never come in and blah blah, blah stuff. Now that's the whole conspiracy thing that seems sort of in line with what you were saying, but also infrasound is like how elephants communicate.
Sure, yeah.
And something, right? Yeah.
That's why we're
people
all
think
disturbed
lizards,
by them.
right? People think lizards. That's
why we all fear elephants.
But tigers. So it's been found recently too, and now this is like scientifically and factually accurate. Away from conspiracy theory, tigers' roars also emit infrasound, and what people are starting to realize is that like people have observed that sometimes when a tiger roars, it stuns its prey, and people didn't know why. And now people like scientists are like researching the effects of infrasound on people or on creatures, and found that like them being stunned or dazed or filled with a sense of dread like actually can, like that is actually a real effect. And so they think that tigers roaring is
yes,
it stuns their prey because it's the infrasound that's doing it. Yeah.
That is interesting for sure. There's also the idea that people think that possibly the like places that are considered haunted have some sort of low frequency going on.
We just
That's
saw
why people
ghosts.
are having weird feelings when they're going through it.
Happy Halloween. No, yeah.
I'm a ghost solver.
How I first was introduced to infrasound was a Bigfoot YouTube channel. I think Bigfoot stuff is fun. I think that's a lot of fun. I think there's some interesting stuff.
Sorry.
And in all these reports of quote unquote encounters, people say like, well, first I felt like a sense of dread, or I felt like scared, and then looked up and then saw it. And like there's always like encounters or like I felt a sense of dread and like didn't know why, and then went back the next day and found these footprints or something. And so they have like an unexplained feeling that either coincides with seeing Bigfoot or like later discovering the foot, like that that like maybe there was a Bigfoot
foot was about.
And so now people are saying, well, maybe Bigfoot produces infrasound, just like the tigers. So just is how they're evading capture.
Yeah.
Or the government is manufacturing Bigfoot to be mobile infrasound. Well, they did the birds. They did the birds and the giraffes. So now they've got Bigfoot to actually emit infrasound.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in all of those caves,
VLF.
What is it? LRF? What is it? VLF. VLF emitters.
Because they were government creations, and they gained sentience and awareness, and they're like, we got to hide away. So they're all hiding in those caves. That's where they're living now. That's why they have those VLF frequencies. Yeah, sheeple.
Open your fucking eyes, sheeple.
Yeah. You want to look and try to show him something?
I got a dog named Sheeple here, and I just closed his eyes this whole time. I'm talking, and you figure wake up.
There's some actual weird stuff that's happened in the world, and then a lot of conspiracy theory weird stuff to add, pepper in. It's all, everything's weird. We don't understand anything. No, humanity.
You mean you and I? Because I bet that's true. But
yeah,
sure.
That's it. We don't understand anything. Except we
don't understand
protected
anything.
ourselves from radiation, that's a plus for humanity.
Force fields are cool.
Yeah. Like destroy the ozone and then build a force
pretty
field.
Dang neat that our sort of just technological development that we went through that just resulted in protecting the Earth, like every other aspect of our technological evolution.
One of the big things that kept coming up as I was trying to look into the force field thing around Earth more was like effects of nuclear bombs on. I was like, all right, I don't want to get into this. Don't want to do that. Don't don't want to get into like how humans are wrecking things. I want to, but that's. Right. Yeah, but think about like
you don't
think about like radio
depressed.
Communication as something so almost outdated and unused. I mean, you have like satellite phones and stuff, but like it seems like we've had radios and stuff, and that was one of the first things, and we're kind of moving past that now. But like, no, we're still discovering uses for technology that people don't really use much. Like the average like general public doesn't use as often. That's yeah.
No, that is super duper interesting. And again, before we end this episode, I want to remind everyone you cannot vote. I have already won.
You gotta be thick.
Please, for the love of God, open your eyes, sheeple.
Yeah.
This dog is driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway, that will be it for us, I think. And
we're on all the things. Think of a thing, and we're on that.
Check us out on all of the things.
Do we have a Club Penguin account? We'll get on Club Penguin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want to
open some eyes on there.
OnlyFans. But
yeah.
But we have a YouTube channel. I've been putting up episodes, full episodes.
It's just the episodes. Yeah.
There's nothing like crazy on there. It's just the episodes. If you wanted to listen that way,
email it. Attach it to an email and send it to everybody.
Give us a review on any of the things.
Email forward because people love those.
Anyway, enough blabbering from us. Enjoy the rest of your days, and we'll see you on the next one.